Hey everybody, it's Coaster Carl. Um, I had to change the topic here for a minute. Um, I'm gonna talk about the automotive industry. Um, I have some family members who work for the auto industry, and I kind of have a problem with certain things. One thing is that the automotive industry, they have all these recalls, and it's like, it's ridiculous. I don't understand it. One minute you're sitting there, you're watching TV, and then you're watching the news, and then every day there's a new recall on something. And you have people getting hurt from these recalls. And it's like, you think that they'd turn around and change whatever they're doing wrong when they're making these vehicles. Instead, they're making you go to um these dealerships and getting your cars fixed free of charge, which is also, well, I don't know if it's completely free of charge, but the problem that I have is, so you have them fix your car at the dealership, which is another big hassle because you drive all the way to the dealership, which is a big waste of gas and money out of your pocket just to go get this fixed. So it's like, when are you guys going to understand, okay, we need to test this out before it leaves the factory to make sure everything's okay? I mean, like, okay, you have electrical problems. Okay, check out your electrical first before it leaves the factory. I mean, what kind of people are running this automotive industry? It's driving me insane. It's ridiculous. I mean, like, I have an uncle who's getting ready to buy a brand new Corvette Stingray, okay? Or he has bought it and it's being manufactured as we speak. Okay, well, here's the problem. Okay, he has this ordered, but there's absolutely no guarantee that it's gonna be right. And this is what really scares me the most is these companies don't get these these things right the first time with these cars, and then you end up having these people getting hurt or killed or whatever, and it's very, 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 very annoying. So I mean, it's like, you don't have a car manufacturer that is recall free because they're all recalled. At some point or another, you'll always hear one of the auto manufacturers have recalls. I mean, makes me wonder what, like, Lamborghini or um Porsche or Ferrari is doing right, because you very rarely ever hear those cars getting recalled. It's like, there's no way that those expensive exotic cars can be recall free. There's no way that's possible. So, I mean, I mean, I have seen the way that certain vehicles are engineered. And it seems like what they do is they sit in front of a computer now and just sit there and render up something that comes out of their brain or their head, and then they submit it to their boss, and they think, oh, yeah, that's a good car. And then the next process is they sit there and they have another engineer sit in front of the computer, slap down specs for an engine, and call it good. I'm sorry, but when it comes to um, engines, which is like the most important part of the car, you have these people that sit there and screw things up the first time. I mean, like, what is it? Are they on drugs? Are they not thinking properly? I mean, this is not the toy industry from the 1960s, where it seems like all of the toy designers from the 1960s were on LSD or something. I mean, for crying out loud. What is wrong with these people? I mean, and then you have these other engineers, they sit there and they'll do all of the electrical work for the cars. They'll sit there, design all the wiring and everything else. And it's just freaking ridiculous. I don't understand it. I mean, there are people in this auto industry that seems like they can't get any darn thing right. I mean, sometimes I would like to strangle these people, which I'm not because I, I don't have the thing in my body to be able to hurt anybody physically, even if I wanted to. So, I mean, and it seems, and another thing is, it seems that they think that or not, they don't think that the most important thing as we all rely on semi trucks, and they have certain specs and everything else that they have to follow for semi trucks for the federal government. Now, this is probably one of the biggest problems that I have with that is that you get these semi truck manufacturers that will sit there and they will design a truck and then they will make it. Once that truck comes off the assembly line, do you ever hear of semi truck recalls on the news? No. But I'm sure that those owner operators would love to be able to hear about um, those recalls if they're on the news. I mean, it seems like all we ever hear about in the automotive industry is regular everyday cars that we rely on that's a big necessity. I mean, semi trucks are even more of a necessity because they're the ones that help us get everything to the stores. I mean, a lot of it goes to, a lot of our stuff comes from China. So when each one of those ships come in from China, to the United States, you have to have semi trucks there to go pick it up, take each of the products to a warehouse somewhere, and then they get distributed by the semi truck companies to each store or office or wherever. So, I mean, I was watching this video of somebody where they were telling me that one of the semi truck manufacturers came up with an engine, and the engine would stall on the road while they're driving. The engine would quit, and then when they get down the road, or when they're driving, somehow they can restart the engine. Me personally, that doesn't seem very safe at all. That is not good. That is very scary. So, I mean, there has got to be better governance when it comes to the semi truck industry, um, with the manufacturing part of it. Um, I mean, you have these drivers that drive very long hours and they are busting their butts to get from point A to point B to point C to point D. Okay, so they really need to look at what they're doing wrong in the manufacturing process of these trucks, because these semi trucks are a vital part of our jobs in America and around the world. I mean, you you have these uh, shipping companies that go and buy these trucks, and they're dependent on them. The people who are employed with that company are dependent on them, and it's really, really, really important that they have a good quality truck that's going to run, that's going to last them for I don't know how many years. I mean, I have seen where they will have trucks and they will put like, I don't know, something like 100,000 miles on them, and then they'll trade them in and get new trucks. So, I mean, they have to have a good quality truck, so they need to be dependent on those trucks. Now, here is the other thing with the regular automotive industry, okay? You have police officers who are dependent on vehicles every day that are outfitted, which is, well, let me explain this. You have a police car that is technically a retrofitted civilian vehicle that they go in there and they do a lot of conversions and whatever. You do not want that police car to be broken down on the side of the road because you have an emergency. So they need to be very dependent on all of this stuff. So, I mean, somebody's got to get something right in these companies and get up there and take a stand and say, hey, we got to do a lot better job of working on dependability, quality, and um, safety. I mean, if you have a police car or say an ambulance or a fire truck on the side of the road and they're broke down, they're not going to get to you because they're going to be sitting there broken down off the side of the road. So, I mean, you need to get these things right. Please do that. I am getting so frustrated with these things. I mean, I can't even tell you how many semi trucks I see broken down on the side of the road. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, the next time you see a semi truck driver at a truck stop or whatever, can you please thank them for all that they do? Because it's come down to the point where they work really long hours. Really they're really dedicated to their jobs, and it's not our fault that their trucks break down. Okay? That is in no way in our fault. However, it is human error at the manufacturer, or it is also human error when it comes to um, the mechanics. So, I mean, these truck drivers have so many frustrations. We also have so many frustrations when it comes to the cars that we drive every day. We get in accidents, yes, which are sometimes human error, which sometimes is our fault, but sometimes that is the manufacturer's fault for why we get into accidents. And the manufacturers are all about human error. I think that the auto manufacturers seriously need to look at the amusement industry. Because if you look at it, the amusement industry works very, very, very hard on um, the safety and quality of their products. So, I mean, that is the number one thing that I think that these auto manufacturers have to do. I mean, yes, the auto manufacturers have nothing to do with the amusement industry. And yes, there are no gasoline or diesel motors on these amusement rides, but still. I mean, look at carnivals. When you have a carnival, they have to travel. Okay, what's hauling those rides? Semi trucks. So, I mean, I think all of you get my point. Um, so, um, if you like what you see, please subscribe to my videos and like them, and I will see you in the next video. This is Coaster Carl signing off.